Good morning, it's Karen from Simply Living for Him. I'm here to do my daily devotion from God's Word. I hope that you are encouraged by these videos in some way, and if you are, I'd love to hear from you. I'd love for you to share it with a friend and subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you are a podcast listener, you would have heard my podcast episode this week is about the topic that I want to talk about for the devotion. Now, if you didn't hear the podcast, hopefully this will encourage you to go listen to it, because I just want to touch briefly on kind of the central message of that episode. So that episode was titled, Your Life Isn't Supposed to Look Like Someone Else's. It's supposed to look like Christ. And, I talk about a lot of different things in this episode, but then I really hit home on this message towards the middle and the end, that our lives are not supposed to look like others. Right now, we live in a society where we are being influenced constantly on how we should look, how we should act, what our families should look like, what our homes should look like, what we should look like, what our lives should look like. And quite frankly, life is too short to be copying someone else's life. And we are meant to be building the kingdom together. And we should not be worried about, trying to imitate somebody else, because we are all in this together. And so we talked a lot on the podcast about, jealousy and envy and kind of coveting what someone else's life looks like. And rather than doing that, realizing that we're all in this together, but we all have a different means of, spreading the gospel, building the kingdom. We all have a different purpose. We are not all teachers. We are not all evangelists. We are not all tradespeople. We all have a different purpose, but yet we all have the greatest purpose, that is building the kingdom. And if we're building the kingdom together, we're not going to try to copy someone else's life. We're going to be looking straight at Christ and seeing what it is that he has for us to do for him. And so my verse today that I want to share with you is from Ephesians chapter 5. It says, "Be imitators of God, therefore, as dearly loved children, and live a life of love, just as Christ loved us and gave himself up for us as a fragrant offering and sacrifice to God." If you are living as an imitator of Christ, if you are keeping your eyes on him and your sole purpose is to follow him, you're not going to be worrying about trying to copy somebody else's life. Your life is not supposed to look like someone else's. It's supposed to look like Christ. And it's supposed to look like how he is leading you. We all have different life choices. Some of us have careers outside of the home. Some of us have careers inside of the home. Some of us have large families. Some of us have small families. Some of us have no families. Some of us are single. Some of us are married. But God is calling us all to live out the purpose that is unique for us, with our eyes on him, not on what everybody else is doing. And so it's really easy to get caught up these days in, I'm a homeschooler, and what somebody else is doing in their homeschool, or what somebody else is doing, in their home, or whatever it is. But honestly, we have to remember that we are here to build the kingdom, not our own little kingdoms. We are here to keep our eyes on him and be solely influenced by him, and not what everybody else is telling us. And it's okay to, get ideas from other people and admire other people, but it is not okay when we start to kind of compare and then covet somebody else's life. So remember today, the only one who should be influencing you is God. This is the greatest source of our influence, and how he is calling you to live is how you should live, and don't get distracted by what the world is telling you. So if you, kind of relate to that message and you haven't heard the podcast, I will link the episode here in the video so you can go listen to it further. But I've heard a lot of great feedback from that episode, and I think it really struck a chord. A lot of us need to hear that message, that we can be free to live the life that God called us to live, because we know that we are living for a purpose way bigger than ourselves and way bigger than what others think, but for the kingdom. So I'd love to hear what you think of that episode as well. Until the next time, I wish you all the blessings and joy in Jesus today.